In this enchanting episode, we find ourselves transported to the mystical realm of Krunel, the land where the illustrious Vandert family resides. Gerard, a loyal servant, stands before his master, the esteemed Fernando, and delivers the news that Tina, who had fled her home, has returned safely with him. Turning his gaze towards Tina, Fernando inquires about the pain her departure has caused and probes the depths of her disdain for him. He implores her to reveal the source of her intense aversion. In response, Tina doesn't hold back, accusing him of being devoid of even the slightest ounce of affection. Fernando, with a bemused grin, can't help but laugh in response. He dismisses Tina's claims as absurd, asserting with sincerity that he loves her. However, Tina remains resolute, convinced that Fernando's affections are driven solely by his ambition to unite the Hazelfane family under his banner, thus ascending the social ladder among the aristocracy of magical nobles. In a moment of candor, Fernando acknowledges the partial truth in Tina's assertion, but steadfastly maintains that love is at the core of his feelings for her. He recollects the overwhelming joy he felt when he learned of her voluntary return to the Vandert estate in the company of Gerard. Unmoved, Tina resists, declaring that Fernando should feel no shame in admitting that her return was a consequence of Gerard's coercion. Recognizing the exhaustion etched across Tina's face from her arduous journey, Fernando gracefully intervenes. He suggests that Tina must be in need of rest and promptly directs Gerard to accompany her to the opulent mansion where she can find solace. As the two exit the room, leaving Fernando to ponder the complexities of their relationship, he realizes that Tina has astutely discerned his true intentions. She is a shrewd young woman, and although she has identified his hidden agenda, her options for escape appear severely limited. Meanwhile, in a wholly different narrative thread, Wayne meets with Rollo. He yearns to be granted a scholarship that would facilitate his journey to the illustrious Krunel, renowned for its unparalleled advancements in magical research. Rollo, captivated by Wayne's aspirations and the promise of what Krunel holds, smiles and assures Wayne of his support and dedication to making this dream a reality. Grateful for Rollo's unwavering backing, Wayne expresses his heartfelt thanks. 2 weeks later, Wayne finds himself en route to Krunel, though he can hardly believe that he's accompanied by not one, but two loyal companions, Sophie and Henry. Sophie reveals her fascination with the cultural exchange aspect and confesses her lifelong curiosity about the enigmatic magic of Krunel. On the other hand, Henry's intrigue is piqued by the mysterious workings and appearance of magic tools from this extraordinary land. Kijin, the ever-supportive figure, subtly points out the audacity of their shared enthusiasm. Sophie inquires of Kijin, "May I ask why you accompany Wayne as well?" To which Kijin promptly responds, "Sophie, it's a distinct role, as I serve Wayne." Wayne intervenes gracefully, diffusing any tension that may have arisen, assuring them, "There's no need for concern. Your presence, all of you accompanying me, provides a great deal of reassurance." This statement elicits a bashful response from both Sophie and Henry. Arriving at the border of Krunel, they must navigate a thorough inspection before they're granted a coveted stamp of entry. With their passports stamped and the borders open before them, they finally step foot onto the hallowed grounds of Krunel. Wayne contemplates the significant journey that still lies ahead, pondering the long road to the capital. It is then that Sophie, with an air of excitement, introduces an intriguing notion, a unique mode of transportation found only in Krunel, wyverns. Her proposal catches Wayne by surprise, and he leans in, eager to understand more. Sophie elaborates on the uniqueness of wyverns as a mode of transportation in Krunel, and is convinced that they will find a place in a nearby village where these magnificent creatures are available for riders. The mere idea of riding wyverns fills Wayne and Henry with exhilaration, and they promptly prepare for the adventure. The group heads to a wyvern farm, eager to embark on this thrilling leg of their journey. Upon arrival at the wyvern farm, Wayne approaches the owner, expressing their desire to rent wyverns for their journey to the capital. The owner provides the details, including the cost of 30,000 nil per wyvern. Wayne inquires about the number of passengers each wyvern can accommodate and learns that it can carry a maximum of 2 riders. Without hesitation, Wayne agrees to the terms and pays the required fee. With the formalities settled, the owner proceeds to provide a tutorial on riding these majestic creatures. Wayne and Henry listen intently, absorbing the intricacies of mounting the rider's saddle and manipulating the wyvern's wings through a lever affixed to their backs. Eager to begin their wyvern journey, Wayne and Henry mount their respective wyverns, with excitement coursing through their veins. As they prepare for takeoff, Henry struggles to calm his wyvern, while Sophie, though visibly nervous, bravely mounts another wyvern. In stark contrast, Wayne and Kijin display remarkable ease in mastering their wyvern's controls. Their seamless adaptation to this magical mode of transportation astounds Sophie and Henry, as well as the impressed owner. With his newfound mastery of wyvern riding, Wayne stands ready to lead the way to the capital. He decides to accompany Henry, providing reassurance to his anxious friend. Sophie, on the other hand, joins Kijin on another wyvern, her heart heavy with the unspoken wish that she could be riding alongside Wayne. With their positions solidified and their wyverns poised for flight, they bid farewell to the farm and take to the skies, soaring toward the fabled capital of Krunel. High above the landscape of Krunel, Kijin and Sophie revel in the exhilaration of soaring through the boundless sky on their wyverns. The wind whistles past them, and the sprawling vistas unfold in all their majesty. However, their friend Henry, perched on his own wyvern, is gripped by an overwhelming sense of fear. Unable to even cast a glance downward, Wayne, with a reassuring tone, urges him to endure this harrowing journey just a bit longer, promising that their landing in the capital, Alder Lane, is only minutes away. As the wyverns gently descend and the trio safely alights on solid ground, relief washes over Henry. They park their majestic steeds at a local wyvern farm, bidding farewell to their aerial companions. Eager to explore the enchanting capital, they begin to meander through the bustling streets of Alder Lane. Wayne takes the opportunity to inform them about their upcoming orientation, scheduled for the next day. Intrigued, Henry inquires about the purpose of this orientation, prompting Wayne to explain that it will serve as their introduction to the academy. During the orientation, they will receive information about the academy itself and partake in tests to determine their respective skill levels. Sophie quickly realizes that this means they will be sorted into classes based on their abilities, a notion that sparks a hint of worry in Henry. He envisions himself relegated to the lowest tier, and his apprehension is palpable. Sophie and Wayne, however, rally to uplift Henry's spirits, encouraging him to embrace a more optimistic outlook and reminding him of his considerable talents. They assure him that he needn't fear and should instead focus on giving his best effort. Emboldened, Henry expresses his determination to rise to the occasion. Suddenly, a distant clamor punctuates the air, alerting the group to an unfolding crisis. Wayne, equipped with clairvoyance, peers into the source of commotion. His extrasensory vision reveals a building ablaze with flames, and within it, numerous people trapped in dire peril. Sophie gasps at the dire situation, prompting Wayne to take charge. Without hesitation, he announces his intention to rescue the endangered citizens, urging Sophie and Henry to continue onward to the academy. Unwilling to let Wayne shoulder this burden alone, Kijin offers to accompany him, while Sophie fervently insists on contributing to the rescue effort. Wayne, however, firmly but gently rebuffs Sophie's offer, citing the danger and the need to ensure her safety. Their expressions filled with anxiety, they watch as Wayne swiftly departs to save those in peril. Reluctantly, Sophie acquiesces, her anger simmering beneath the surface. She and Henry decide to follow Wayne and Kijin from a safe distance. Wayne and Kijin arrive at the scene, the fire's raging inferno leaving them with no choice but to create a protective barrier to safeguard themselves from the scorching heat and choking smoke. Once inside, Wayne quickly formulates a plan, instructing Kijin to split up and rescue the trapped individuals as swiftly as possible. Racing against time, Wayne plunges into the conflagration, locating his first victim amidst the flames. Utilizing his teleportation spell, he extracts the person from the fiery peril and then courageously re-enters the inferno to save more lives. Kijin mirrors Wayne's dedication, tirelessly combing through the fiery maze to locate and evacuate those in need. Working in tandem, they eventually manage to rescue all the trapped individuals who are left awestruck and profoundly grateful for their timely rescue. Wayne, despite the praise, remains modest, humbly stating that he merely fulfilled what was expected of him. Yet the raging fire remains unquelled, its flames stubbornly resisting all attempts to extinguish them. A trio of mages has fought valiantly to no avail. Wayne steps forward, his eyes locked on the inferno. With a rush of determination, he ascends into the air, harnessing his magic to cast a spell known as Grand Extinguishment. In a brilliant flash of light, the incendiary fury is immediately quelled, leaving bystanders gaping in awe at Wayne's astonishing display of power. The flames that had once menaced the building are extinguished with a single stroke, and the capital's inhabitants are left marveling at the awe-inspiring feat of magic they'd just witnessed. Wayne's swift response to extinguishing the fire drew heartfelt gratitude from those he had just saved. In his usual modest demeanor, Wayne downplayed the significance of his actions, assuring them that it was a task of little difficulty for him. However, he couldn't help but be taken aback by the realization that fire posed no real challenge to his abilities. This left Wayne pondering the astonishment he sensed in those around him. Amid the gratitude and amazement, someone in the group couldn't resist the urge to inquire further. Speculation ran rampant, and they dared to ask if Wayne had employed some form of powerful, perhaps ancient magic to accomplish the feat. Wayne, ever the humble and forthcoming soul, took a moment to correct this assumption. It wasn't ancient magic that he wielded, but something equally unfamiliar to his companions, a mystical practice known as onmyoujutsu. This revelation left those gathered quite bewildered. Onmyoujutsu was a term they had never encountered before. By the time they had reached the scene, Wayne's onmyoujutsu had already quelled the flames, leaving little for them to do. The group couldn't help but notice the uniform of a young woman among them, clearly indicating her affiliation with the prestigious Krunal Magic Academy. One of the individuals in the group, seemingly familiar with Wayne, was quick to give credit where it was due. He declared that Wayne was the one who had been instrumental in resolving the crisis. The young woman from the Krunal Magic Academy recognized Wayne's attire from the Alder Magic Academy, sparking her interest further. Wayne stepped in to provide context, explaining that he had taken on a temporary role as an instructor to propagate the practice of onmyoujutsu. The young woman, who had heard of Wayne as a national hero, was taken aback to find herself standing before him. She had envisioned the hero as a towering figure, but here was Wayne, the same age as her. Wayne, in his own thoughts, couldn't help but ponder the idea of being considered a giant. With introductions underway, the young woman introduced herself as Leah, a third-year student at the Krunal Magic Academy, also holding the esteemed position of Student Council President. The gentleman in the group went on to reveal Leah's status as the most skilled mage among all Krunal students, the go-to expert during fire emergencies when the mage corps were summoned. Just as their conversation was gaining momentum, Kijin interrupted, heralding the arrival of Sophie and Henry. Sophie's countenance appeared far from pleasant, and her discontent was palpable. Wayne quickly extended an apology, explaining that he had been compelled to act alone. Sophie, while understanding the situation, couldn't mask her frustration. Wayne inquired about the source of her vexation, to which Sophie confessed that she realized she could never have resolved the crisis as swiftly as Wayne had. She couldn't help but feel powerless in comparison to his abilities. Wayne, with a reassuring tone, sought to console her, reminding her that everyone possessed their unique strengths and weaknesses. The attempt to comfort Sophie, however, seemed to heighten her irritation. Leah then interjected with an air of excitement, drawing their attention to the fact that Wayne and his two companions were exchange students from Alder. She looked forward to getting to know them, despite Sophie's less than ideal first impression. Sophie, despite her earlier frustration, greeted Leah, feeling a tinge of embarrassment about her initial reception. Leah eagerly extended an offer to be their guide through Krunal, an invitation that they graciously accepted. Their tour included a visit to the Academy's Magic Research Lab, where Leah mentioned the recent surge in the popularity of ancient magic research in Krunal. This revelation caught Henry's attention, and he expressed his desire to explore ancient magic someday. However, Leah swiftly advised against it, explaining that ancient magic consumed the body as fuel. She later apologized to Henry for her initial comment, alluding to some deeper thoughts. Sophie, curious about the enigmatic flame Leah had mentioned, inquired further. Leah, with a cryptic tone, suggested they pretend not to have heard her mention it, hinting that they might get to experience it themselves as exchange students. Wayne couldn't help but sense an underlying implication in Leah's words. As they proceeded to the dormitories, everyone was taken aback by the spacious accommodations designated for a few exchange students. Leah explained that the academy used to host a multitude of cultural exchanges in the past, but had shifted its focus over the years. They were now a unique exception to this practice, a privilege granted solely because Wayne, the nation's revered hero, had applied. Henry couldn't resist teasing Wayne at this point, but Wayne, in his unflappable demeanor, refused to take the bait. Leah, anticipating the events of the next day, suggested they take it easy for the evening. The impending schedule included an orientation and a class placement test. Krunal students were to undergo a practical examination, while exchange students like them were expected to complete a written test. Henry found solace in this arrangement, confident in his ability to excel in a written examination. After escorting them to their respective rooms, Leah once more extended her gratitude to Wayne for his role in dealing with the artifact fire. With that, she took her leave. The narrative now shifted to the Vander household, where Gerard was in conversation with Fernando. Gerard shared the news of Wayne's acceptance as an exchange student at the Krunal Magic Academy. Fernando speculated that Wayne's choice might be tied to his engagement with Tina. He believed that Wayne breaking off the engagement could make Tina more amenable to their plans. Fernando, secure in Gerard's loyalty, expressed confidence in their alliance. Fernando went a step further, asserting that they would continue to consolidate their power. He believed that his grand design was nearing realization, with only the issue of Wayne's engagement to Tina standing in the way. To him, it was a relatively insignificant concern in the grander scheme of their ambitions. Unbeknownst to them, someone had overheard their conversation from outside the palace. Tengqiu, upon hearing their plans, felt a shiver of apprehension. As Tengqiu departed from the vicinity, Gerard, seemingly attuned to his presence, sensed his departure. Tengqiu promptly relayed the details of the conversation to Wayne, who was now privy to the Duke's intentions. Wayne couldn't help but feel that the Duke was underestimating him. He urged Tengqiu to continue investigating the Duke's activities, emphasizing the importance of uncovering his true agenda. Wayne was now convinced that his engagement to Tina was merely a small component of the Duke's grand scheme. He couldn't help but suspect that this revelation might be the very reason Tina had fled her home upon learning of the impending engagement. A deep sense of determination etched itself onto Wayne's face. He had made up his mind to take matters into his own hands and ensure the dissolution of Fernando's engagement with Tina. The following day arrived with an air of anticipation and curiosity as the group, now comprising Wayne, Sophie, Henry, Kijin, and their gracious host Leah, gathered to receive the results of the written test. Leah beamed with positivity as she congratulated all of them on their performance in the examination. She returned their answer sheets, her words carrying an undercurrent of pride and encouragement. Leah began by acknowledging the achievements of each student. Henry's face lit up with a mix of relief and elation as Leah announced that he had achieved a perfect score on the test. Sophie, on the other hand, struggled to process the fact that she had only made 2 mistakes. A sense of disbelief enveloped her as she contemplated the near-flawless result. Kijin, however, had a different experience. Her paper bore more mistakes than she had hoped for, a reality that Leah didn't shy away from addressing. Still, Leah's supportive tone reassured Kijin that her efforts had not gone to waste. Wayne, ever the mentor, seized the moment to encourage Kijin, suggesting that she should invest more time in deepening her understanding of magic. Kijin's response was resolute, echoing her determination to strive for improvement. Leah, satisfied with the interactions, delivered her verdict, assigning Wayne, Sophie, Henry, and Kijin to Class A for their practical training. She deemed it appropriate to recognize Kijin's contributions to resolving the explosion accident. Despite her lower score, the dynamics of their education began to take shape, with Wayne stepping into his role as a temporary lecturer. He would oversee Class E, a group known for their underwhelming magical capabilities and questionable conduct. The idea of having a peer as their instructor did not sit well with them. Wayne sensed the undercurrent of disapproval among his students, who were all of the same age as him. In stark contrast, their counterparts in Class A, a cadre of accomplished and academically exceptional students, welcomed their mentors with open arms. Among their ranks, a familiar face appeared, none other than Tina. Her presence took Sophie by surprise, and a sense of intrigue and concern welled up within her. As Wayne contemplated his new role as a temporary lecturer, he couldn't help but feel that the situation was far more intricate than it appeared. He sensed that the students in his class had a reservoir of spiritual power, surpassing conventional mana, a promising sign that they could excel in the art of onmyoujutsu. Though their power did not intimidate Wayne, he was convinced that under his guidance they could evolve into formidable practitioners. The initial interaction in Class E was marked by a student named Darius. Approaching Wayne with an air of casual familiarity, he inquired if they could engage in informal conversation due to their shared age. Wayne, maintaining his cool and collected demeanor, delivered a subtle but pointed response. He acknowledged their shared age but emphasized the distinction in their statuses. Darius, however, responded with a touch of mockery. He claimed to have heard of Wayne's heroic feat in saving a nation from a colossal dragon, challenging Wayne to demonstrate his true strength. The idea appealed to Wayne, who saw it as an opportunity to showcase what he would be teaching the students. The two groups ventured to the Krunal Magic Academy training ground, where Wayne and Darius squared off. Darius, eager to witness the potency of Wayne's onmyoujutsu, inquired about his plans to demonstrate it. Wayne, radiating confidence, assured Darius that he would not engage in anything that could harm him. Instead, he welcomed Darius to launch attacks at full strength while Wayne focused on defense. Darius enthusiastically accepted this challenge, wasting no time. The match began with Darius charging headlong at Wayne. The young instructor effortlessly created a protective shield before him, a manifestation of onmyoujutsu. To the amazement of those watching, Wayne clarified that this was not a display of traditional magic, but a manifestation of the mysterious art of onmyoujutsu. Darius, while impressed, couldn't help but express his view that all magic users were the same. Wayne remained unfazed and decided to add an element of swordsmanship to the bout. He drew his spirit sword, much to Darius' astonishment, as he had earlier promised not to engage in any action that could harm him. Intrigued by the shift in tactics, Darius watched Wayne closely as their duel continued. Wayne was aware of Darius' proficiency with a sword, which allowed him to utilize a small amount of mana to enhance his physical prowess. Darius' unique blend of limited mana and abundant spiritual power set him apart from other students. Wayne believed that Darius had the potential to excel in onmyoujutsu, which would be a more suitable path for him than conventional magic. As the duel unfolded, Darius, despite his skill, found himself unable to move Wayne's sword even an inch. He began to acknowledge Wayne's unparalleled combat prowess as the young instructor handled him with ease. However, Darius was not one to back down. He summoned a green aura around him, signaling a change in his approach. Wayne, now in a defensive stance, carefully blocked Darius' attacks. What impressed him most was Darius' ability to convert his spiritual power into mana, a feat Wayne hadn't anticipated. Darius' newfound strength manifested as he launched a ferocious attack, but Wayne, with finesse, intercepted it. In the heat of the moment, Darius lost his grip on his sword, but he refused to concede defeat and attempted to strike Wayne with his fist. Wayne, however, effortlessly caught Darius' punch. In his composed manner, Wayne declared the match over, prompting Darius' confusion. Wayne explained that he admired Darius' fighting spirit and identified a familiar quality in him. His final piece of advice was a warning against using the potentially dangerous closing technique Darius had employed. Wayne then extended an offer, suggesting that he could teach Darius the art of onmyoujutsu, an opportunity that could enable Darius to unlock his full potential and become even stronger.